Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to the Underhive's Most Wanted, a series dedicated to the analysis of the Dramatis Personae fighters and Games Workshop's Necromunda. We will discuss the characters' rules, equipment, strengths and weaknesses, positive and negative gameplay mechanics, and also provide other critical information that will help you to dominate in your next campaign of Necromunda. And on today's episode, we'll discuss Margo Merdena, the Dust Sea Road Boss, who is a House Orlock Agent for Orlock Gangs. As I mentioned before, we'll talk about her rules, her equipment, her strengths and weaknesses, her positive and negative gameplay impacts, and provide other critical information that can help you out in your campaigns. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about this character. So first of all, Margo Merdena is a House Orlock exclusive house agent, and depending upon your reputation, she'll cost anywhere between 100 to 200 credits in order to recruit her. What you'll need to do is roll a d6 and add your reputation points to determine your price. On a score of 1 through 8, she'll cost 100 credits. On a score from 9 to 15, she'll cost 200 credits, and on a 16 or higher, you basically can't recruit her because you're pretty much good on your own. So let's talk about her characteristics real quick. She's got a 5-inch wound allowance, as well as 2+ weapon skill, 3+ ballistic skill, 3 strength and 3 toughness, 3 wounds, 2+ for initiative, 3 attacks, 5 leadership, 6 cool, 7 willpower, 6 willpower, as well as 7 intelligence. Now, right off the bat, her characteristics are actually quite good for a close combat fighter. She's got a 2-up weapon skill, so she's pretty much going to be landing blows against your opponent. She also has 3 attacks base, which is excellent for close combat because that's exactly how this character is kitted out. It's supposed to be a close combat fighter for the most part. And oddly enough, even though she only has a toughness of 3, she is quite survivable with 3 wounds. House Orlock leaders and characters are usually quite tough that way. They're very survivable with their high wounds characteristic. And not to mention, her psychology stats are actually really good for an Orlock fighter. 5+ leadership, 6+ cool, willpower, and 7 intelligence. You rarely see that for Orlock Gangs, so she's actually quite powerful that way. Now, when it comes to her weapons, she does have 2 sets of weapons on this one. She does have what's called leg blades, and that's because her feet are actually made out of cybernetics, as well as a harpoon fist, which means that one of her arms is literally a harpoon launcher. So let's go and talk about those weapons real quick. Those leg blades are great because when she charges in close combat, she's going to get 4 attacks on the charge with those leg blades. They actually add +1 to her strength, so because of that, she'll be striking at strength 4 with -1 AP, as well as 1 damage, which is actually quite deadly for the things that she can do. Now, the nice thing about her leg blades, though, is that she also has a couple of weapons traits on that. First of all, she has disarm, which means you have a 1 to 6 chance of taking away an enemy's close combat attacks away, which is a great little bonus if you manage to roll a 6 on one of your hits. At the same time, she also has parry, which is quite good as well, because that means if your opponents do strike back, she gets to make them re-roll a successful hit against her, which is always a good thing to have. In addition to that, she also has the power characteristics attached to her leg blades as well, which means they can only be parried by other powered weapons, and those are actually quite rare. So because of that, your opponents won't really be able to stop defensively trying to stop her attacks from that way. Now, her only ranged attack, of course, is a harpoon fist. Now, this is a very short range shooting attack. It's only got like a 9-inch maximum range. However, though, if you are shooting at the short range, which is about 3 inches, you do get +1 to your ballistic skill, which means that you'll be striking at a 2+ for shooting, which is quite nice. Now, the harpoon launcher has a strength 5, -2 AP, and also causes 1 damage. So it's a little bit weaker than a normal harpoon launcher, but still quite deadly. It does have a 6-up ammo roll, so that part is kind of bad. So if you do roll an ammo roll check, just realize you'll have a really hard time reloading that weapon. It does have the drag and impale special rules attached to it, which is great. So if you're out in the ash waste, you can pull people off of vehicles, or you can actually go through multiple fighters. You manage to line up a shot really well. But the main reason why I like this weapon is because it does have this sidearm trait, which makes this weapon even better. Because Margo Merdena is meant to be used for close combat, so because of that, having that additional sidearm attack will give her 5 attacks if she charges forward. 4 attacks with leg blades and 1 attack with her harpoon fist was at strength 5 -2 AP and 1 damage. That is extremely deadly. That's going to cause a lot of pain for your opponents. And the nice part about it is if she does manage to take her enemy out of action, if she does actually within short range, she can then pull off a shot with her harpoon fist real quick towards her enemy, which makes her really deadly. So that's one of the cool things about her. Now, for war gear, her war gear is quite basic. She does have flak armor, which is 6-up save. I mean, it's not much, but you never know when that might come in handy. And she also has a respirator, which is good for environmental as well as gas attacks. So she does have that going for her. Now, as for skill, she has the Bring It On skill. Now, the Bring It On skill is a bravado skill that is unique to House Orlock, and it's kind of a weird rule, which basically happens that your enemies must make a willpower test to shoot at anyone else but at your character, which means that they'll be drawing. If they fail that willpower test, they can either shoot or attack this character only. Now, it's kind of strange to say this because she isn't very resilient with her 3 toughness. She does have 3 wounds, which is nice, but she only has got a 6 up armor save, so that's a little bit of a problem for that one. Now, I guess it could be useful because you could use her to like spare your more valuable fighters, and since she's a house agent, if she goes out of action, it doesn't matter because she's only going to be around for the 1 battle anyways. But, you know, it's kind of a weird rule to attach to her, but I kind of see what the developers are going with this one. She does have a lot of agility skill. She has clamber, which is great, which means that vertical movement is just normal movement for her. She also has the spring up skill, which is also great too because your opponents will be shooting at her because she is a deadly close combat fighter. And with initiative 2+, you'll be skipping pinning 2/3 of the time. So and she'll be shot at, she can escape pinning, charge forward, kill your enemies that way. At the same time, she also has sprint, which means that she can actually move to 15 inches on a double movement. So she is wicked fast that way as well. Now, she does have some interesting house rules. Like I said before, she is a house agent, so only Orlock Gangs can recruit her. At the same time, she has a really good rule called Queen of the Road. And what this means is that always including your crews, so no matter what you are filming at, she'll always be there to fight for you. But all Orlock fighters on the battlefield can use her cool characteristics instead of their own. Now, for your champions and your leaders and for your gangers, that's not so much of a big issue. The reason why is because most of those guys got pretty decent cool characteristics. Your gunners actually have a 7-up for cool, so this actually might help them out because she has a 6-up cool. But the real reason why she becomes really important is because she helps out your wreckers and your greenhorns. Your wreckers and your greenhorns only have 8+ for their cool characteristics, so having them with 6+ all the time, absolutely invaluable. So that's the reason why she's a really good character to have, because especially if you're taking on a lot of attacks from enemies or something like that, or if you have a lot of wreckers or greenhorns in your gang, she could really help out your character stay in the fight longer with that beautiful 6+ cool characteristic. So in conclusion, she is an excellent close combat fighter, and she's actually really worth the credits that you would actually spend to recruit her for your gang. She also makes a great leadership support fighter for your gang because she does bring that Queen of the Road special rule, which really helps with the cool characteristics for your fighters as well. She also got really good characteristics for leadership as well as psychology stats, and she's quite good at what she can do, which is close combat primarily. Now, the really nice thing about this character, of course, is that there is no official miniature for this character, so if you do participate in a tournament that uses WYSIWYG, or they want people to use official miniatures, that's a great little workaround because then you can either proxy, 3D print, or convert your own, which is always a great way to save money on that part. So that's a nice thing about this fighter. And of course, even though if you can't afford her for your Orlock gang, she might make an excellent outcast leader. Those psychological characteristics she has, as well as the special rules that she has for her gang as well, can make her quite good. You can make an outcast, Orlock outcast gang and use her as your gang leader, and then you can really use that to help out your gang kind of stick with on the battlefield, because outcast gangs have notoriously horrible cool characteristics, but if they're House Orlock outcasts, you can use the Queen of the Road rule to kind of drop it down to 6+, which would be great because it means your fighters will very rarely break, if at all. So that's a neat thing to think about when you're using this character. In fact, if I was to actually use this character in a campaign, I'd use her as an Orlock outcast gang. I think there's a lot of damage you can really do for that one. So there you guys have it. This is our concluding thoughts on Margo Merdena, the Dramatis Personae house agent for House Orlock Gangs. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest Hollywood news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.